to say hi. This is such a nice day outside. I'm going to do this video outside. So I'm Bill Reed. Today I'm going to talk about some thoughts or planning for retirement. Um, Although this is not really going to be a retirement channel because I'm not retired and I don't really plan to retire for maybe a few more years. But here's some things that I am thinking about. Um, anyway, I like to think of myself as the Calisthenics Jesus, as I like to do my calisthenics workout with long hair. I've been injured lately, so I took a week off, but I started back with calisthenics, and boy, I have to tell you, my shoulders feel so great. Absolutely no pain, even though I did hurt my ribs on Wednesday. Get slammed hard against the bar, and it's painful, but it's getting better. So anyway, here's the thoughts on retirement. I've been told that you need to have basically three sources of income. One of them is your Social Security, which should be about a third. A third should come from basically your 401k or your savings, investment savings. And then the third is a side hustle. Monetizing a side hustle, I guess, is super nervous for me, but I do own an apartment building, so that will be my side hustle, and this is kind of where this is going. I owe actually under $150,000 on my apartment building, and I'd like to get that paid off in 3 years. So I've been aggressively paying down the mortgage. So anyway, things have been going pretty well so far, but this year I've been able to save a good chunk of money, so I've got 20K to do something with. So I am going to discuss what my choices are, and here we go. So these are my options. Option number one, I could invest it in the electric car that I'm thinking about buying, which is Aptera. Number two could be put it in Robinhood. Number three, just pay down my mortgage. Number four could be Bitcoin. I could use some of the money to pay off my credit card. I could put it in the credit union or just keep it in my checking account. So anyway, there's three categories here. One of them is how liquid the investment is, the investment value, percent return, risk, and basically what ends up becoming the return, monetary return value. So, okay, with Aptera is a startup electric car company, so you invest the money and there's zero liquidity. That money is just basically gone. Obviously, if this company really takes off, I guess you could make a ton of money on it, but it's a super high risk investment. They're offering a deal now where if you invest 2K, you can get 1K off the car, so that could be a return. You know, if they do get the production. Percent rate of return, who knows? Risk, I say, extremely high. Return monetary value would be $1,000 if they do get the production. Right now, I'm not going to do that because I just think it's all too risky. And I've already invested 10K in the company, so I'm happy staying there. Okay, option number two is to put it in Robinhood. Liquidity is pretty high. I can always get the money at any time. They're offering, at least today, a 5% rate of return. Of course, that can change, but that's what it is today. Assuming it doesn't change at the end of 2 years, my investment will be $20,000 investment worth $22,098 and some cents. So that's a $2,098.83. Okay, the third option is just to pay down the mortgage. Just send the $20,000 check in for the next mortgage payment. Okay, drawback to this is that there is zero liquidity. Once that money's gone, it's gone. You can't get it back. I figure that at the end of, okay, this is how I figured out. This is a little complicated. Yeah, the mortgage is a variable rate. It's at 8.125%. So what I did was, okay, let's assume I don't put anything in. and I pay the mortgage down to $20,000 versus to say I put the $20,000 in and I pay it down to nothing. And what you do is you get two different payoff times, or pay down times, I should say, to get to that point. So as say in one case is 150 to 20, the other case is 130 to 0. And it works out the difference in those is that if I pay down the 130 to 0 versus going the other option, the value of that investment effectively is like 25,002 cents. So in a sense, if I just go ahead and invest that money and putting the mortgage down, I will basically save $5,000. Okay, that is again in contrast to saying I pay it down to $20,000 and I would just dump the $20,000 in. So I'll be ahead $5,000. But as I said, the drawback to this is there's no liquidity. Once that money's in, it's gone. I can't get back at it. Okay, other option is Bitcoin. Liquidity is very high. You can sell it at any time. Bitcoin loves to be very tradable, and of course I think they even love it more if you lose money on it. So someone else can get rich. But anyway, so I figured $20,000 is about 3/10 of a Bitcoin. And right today the price is $65,424. So I don't know how to predict the future of this. So I used my Bitcoin model and ran it. Today it says the value should be worth about 40,000, so it's quite a bit less than what it is. And then I ran it into the future, and it says the value would be about 46,000, 2 years from now. So if you do take the 46,000, that would be a 28% loss if Bitcoin stays at $65,000. So I put the risk as pretty high because crypto is very volatile. And so this investment, I say, has a return value of a loss of $5,780. Now I know Bitcoin fanboys will totally diss me here, but anyway, I am not going to consider that one. Okay, I have a credit card, so one, pay it off. Liquidity has none. Again, once money's gone, it's gone. The value, the amount I owe on this credit card is $3,900, but here, this is going to make everybody mad. I am paying 0% on that credit card right now because of the financial meltdown my wife and I went through in 2019. I guess I decided to charge it off. So basically everything I pay every month is just goes to principal. So there's no interest on that, and of course the risk is none, and the value of the payoff is 0. Okay, I've actually decided not to pay this off quickly because it is at 0% interest. Why should I? I mean, I probably should be putting it, which I am, towards this loan, which is at 8.125% interest. Okay, the other options, credit union. Okay, liquidity's high. They're only paying 2.75% interest, so the value of investment after 2 years would be $21,129. So I only make $1,029. Of course, the risk is pretty low. I think there's almost no chance you'd lose money on this. Even if interest rate went to 0, you won't lose any money. Okay, checking account, liquidity high. 20,000 into this, 0% interest. Again, I think the risk is pretty, I probably shouldn't say none, but it certainly is low and has no return. So it kind of narrows pretty easily down to two, I think, reasonable options. One is to go with Robinhood or just pay the mortgage down. So anyway. Anyway, better or worse, I went ahead and put the 20K in the Robinhood. I like having the high liquidity, and it's not obviously financially going to be the best rate of return, but the advantage it does give me is that it's highly liquid. If I really need to get this money quickly, I can. And yeah, in effect, it will cut down, like almost half of what I mean, it gets about half of the gain I'll get, but just pay the mortgage, which has no liquidity. So here's one of the things that I guess bites at me a lot is that it turns out on my house mortgage, this house I live here, it's only costing me about 15% of my after-tax income for the mortgage. So maintenance and repairs on my cars and properties, that's 25% of my after-tax income. So even paying off this mortgage is I mean, it's helpful, but it's not the white elephant in the room for me. And yes, these insurance and repairs are just out of control. And I look at these minimalist channels or people on retirement, they break down their budgets in quite detail, which is interesting, but they seem to have zero for those items. And please teach me how you're pulling this off, because it would be a game changer for me. You know, and I mentioned this to one person, and he kind of said, well, yes, before I got retired, I replaced the water heater, maybe did a couple other things. And I said, well, okay, that's nice, but, and while these things are these are what I call pseudo one-off expenses, but they're really not, because you've got so many subsystems in your house and your cars and stuff that these things just go in rotation. So, I mean, so you paint your house 1 year, okay, that's good for 10 years, but then the HVAC goes out, you know, that may be good for another 10 or 20 years. You know, then the water heater goes out, you know, then transmission on your car. I mean, you know, it really is an ongoing expense. And I guess I feel that whatever you think you're spending, you probably need to inflate that by 20% to just cover those kind of costs. And insurance, it's just out of control. And the insurance says that, oh yeah, everyone's making all these claims, but it's not just like your homeowners, your auto insurance. I've got earthquake insurance, and it's going up maybe even faster. And there's been earthquake claims. We haven't had a big earthquake since like 1991 here, or 1993 it was. So there's been no earthquake claims here. So why is that going up so much? I mean, I was paying like 3 years ago, maybe it was 2 years ago, like $5,000 a year for mine, and now it went up to $8,800. I'm thinking about canceling it. As I say, so I don't know. I really would like help with getting those expenses down. I guess things break a lot. Anyway, the other thing this is how I was got to. I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm really questioning taking my cars out of the garage. Thinking to myself, if I don't drive my cars, they can't break. So I'll show you my cars, and by the way, they're Toyotas, so they're supposed to be very reliable. So yeah, here's my 1985 Toyota truck. I mean, it's a Toyota, yeah, and this is my 2009 Lexus LS460. This car has almost 60,000 miles on it. My father gave it to me. It's not really a kind of car I would buy for myself, but it's a beautiful car though. But yeah, I'm limiting the driving so that way, because it's coming up to 60,000 miles, and that's probably gonna be a $2,000 maintenance service repair when I do take that into the dealer. And yeah, I could maybe delay that for a while. And this little guy here is Pepper. He's my doggy. And no, I don't have vet insurance. I'm sure that would probably cost $500 a month. So hopefully I could self-insure this guy. So anyway, Calisthenics Jesus out.